If God exists, why do bad things happen in the world? This is the question that many people ask themselves today, and it can be understandable since the world is currently immersed in chaos, where we see tragic news 24 hours a day. But today we are going to get an answer to the question of the 100 million, the Creator par excellence. Before it was something, He already existed, and in the book of Genesis it is evident that God created everything out of nothing, just like time, space, and matter. It was then that everything, thanks to His voice, began to exist in the chronos, where God and man could converse and listen to each other. He also created a world in perfect harmony, full of nature that was at the feet of man, dominating and living alongside animals, without fear of harm between them. Everything was so perfect that a spring rose from the earth, watering the entire surface of the ground so that the trees could bloom and provide food to those in need. What happened next triggered a series of events that we still see around us today. Due to man's disobedience, known as sin, a curse fell upon all creation, and man was expelled from a perfectly harmonious world where he was united to his Creator. From that moment on, he needed clothing to protect himself and no longer had nature at his feet, but had to work to earn a living. In addition, childbirth would be accompanied by pain and suffering. The worst of it all is that man will no longer be able to talk face to face with God or walk alongside Him as he did in that perfect world He had created. All of this led to a disintegration that man has been cultivating over time due to his disobedience. However, not all the news is bad, because God always has a plan. The Creator has always loved His creation despite the mistakes made, and He desired to restore things to the original design so that we can be together in a place of perfect harmony, security, peace, and provision, giving instructions to humanity so that throughout time they can do things in God's way and prosper in this fallen world called life. Nevertheless, very few obey, and most people continue to do things that over time add more and more curses to humanity. The initial instructions, known as the law and commandments, are difficult to follow and fulfill throughout life. These rules serve as a mirror that reflects our imperfect human nature and shows us that on our own we cannot find the way to God's presence and that perfect world we left behind. Despite this, God continues to love His creation and sends the most beautiful and valuable thing from heaven, His Son, who comes in human form to guide us in this fallen world. The instructions He gives us now come in a different way, as they are accompanied by examples and demonstrations of God's power. After that gift made flesh, He says that He will make a unique and final sacrifice for God, where He will pay and bear with His own body all the disobedience of the entire world, cleansing sin from all generations from that time until our days. He came to deliver the most precious of His being, since with our own strength we could not achieve that reconciliation with God. His message was that He would overcome death and make a place for us in the world we had left behind. This gift from God delivered by grace is the best news for humanity after many years, and this news is called the gospel. Despite what we did in our past lives, we can be reconciled with God and have a direct ticket to that beautiful place where we lived. But for that we must live according to His teachings, obey and follow Him, leaving behind the way of living in disobedience, and then believe and do everything He said. Only by receiving the Son can we reach the Father, because whoever receives the Son receives the Father, since they are both one. There is a sad part to this story, and it is that, even though God Himself in the form of a man came to this world where we live and gave instructions to mankind so that, throughout time, they could do things their own way and be successful in this fallen world called life. However, very few obey, and the majority of men continue doing things that, over time, accumulate more and more curses for humanity, living increasingly separated from God, just like the first men who, disobeying God, eat their own fruits. That is why, because of their actions, and not because of God, terrible tragedies happen in the world, since God has given man something called free choice, and it is man himself who chooses to remain in disobedience and unleash a series of curses through the generations, instead of accepting God's gift. The good news is that this chaotic world will not last forever, and one proof of that is that humans do not live forever. But there is hope that a time will come when God will come for those who have received the good news and have lived according to His instructions. These people have a seal of the so-called Holy Spirit, which helps them follow the instructions left by God and show others the way, the truth, and the life. Those who receive the good news will be transported back to that perfect world we left behind, where all things will be restored and there will be no more fear, sickness, or tears for all eternity.